This is my small raft houseboat design that I've built a few times in survival that includes everything you need in it up to basically late mid-game, up to like fabricator level. Oh, you can't put an indie forge on this, sadly, but until you get up to that level, you can fit everything you need in here. So this is my kind of all-in-one survival base in a raft. Now first, we want to extend this platform out as much as possible. Let's get our foundations and ceilings and walls. All of the things. All right, now let's try to extend this out. Usually I have one in the middle and then I put it as far forward as possible. And of course the first one, everything's going to be crooked if the first one is. So let's see if we can line this up with the planks so it's even. Lower this down as much as we can. One on each side, and then I'll pick this one up so we can still access that. Now let's make sure that they are not attached to the ground. Okay, they're not. All right. Excuse me, rude. Just trying to extend it out in all directions as much as possible.
So the base is 3x3 foundations, and then you extend out by 2 ceilings wider on each side and 1 ceiling wider front and back, so that it is a total of 5 ceilings deep and 7 ceilings wide.
So we will have plenty of space on our lovely little houseboat. Yep, usually you reach a point where you can't get it on the corners, and that's when you know you've gone out as far as you can. And then normally I would just do stairs there, but it can get a little bit glitchy if you just go straight to stairs here with just that little bit of a lip like that. You end up having to jump at the top of the stairs, which isn't the end of the world. But since we have quarter foundations now, let's try that on at least one side. I think you still have to have, you have to have it uncovered, at least partially, in order for it to work. And then we can do that. Okay. Also, you do want some of it showing so that if you get stuck underneath it, you can go up under it and get on top of it that way. You can't do that if the whole bottom is foundations. I would love to see y'all's raft designs. Should definitely put them in the channel in my Discord for builds. So I'll do stairs in the center there, and then I'm actually going to do the other angle will be better. Yes, like this. Put 2 on each side. And then a doorway on each side. Usually I just do double doorways like so. And then we need a solid wall here. 2 high. All right, and now we put in some roofs here, right here. And I really like this design because I feel like it makes use of every inch. So over here, we're going to have our trap, which can also be a dino pen when you're moving. And in here is the cabin where we'll put our beds and boxes for our belongings. So we'll use the space under the ramp there. And on the other side here, got some other things that go underneath the roof pieces. And that's good. We can put, I usually like to, in order to make this as versatile as possible, I'll do window walls instead of doorway walls, so that if I'm trying to tame something smaller, or if I'm trying to carry around something smaller, I don't have to worry as much about it falling out. Sometimes earlier game, if I can't afford to make a gate yet, I'll just put walls there and just pick them up when I need to get a dino out. But if you can put a gate there, that makes it a lot easier to get dinos in and out. And then here goes our doorway. You know what? Actually, let's make these window walls. Sometimes it's nice to be able to shoot at taller creatures to get in those headshots. Let's do that. We could even do doorways on the top, but I already did it, so all that good. Okay, so there is our trap, which can also be a dino pen if we are on the move. And then over here, actually, you know what? I think I usually leave that one open. And then we can put a solid thingy here. It's like a scoop, indeed. Scoop them up. And it seems like there's some creatures that will go into a trap easier than others. Okay, and Of course, early game, you wouldn't be able to add this part yet, but once you unlock greenhouse, you can add the next incarnation where I like to put greenhouse walls here. I usually do it like that. Okay, and then above, we need just a few pieces of greenhouse ceilings. See if that's enough to give crop plots 300%. No, 0% so far. I think it takes a minute sometimes. But also one thing that I've learned about the greenhouse stuff is greenhouse double doors do the same amount of greenhouse effect as a full wall. So sometimes I'll just sneak in some of those, like so. Triangle ceilings, but no quarter ceilings. Come on now. Get with it, people. I would prefer to use greenhouse ones, but since I don't have that option, put a shelf up here. And that is where I toss my egg layers, my small egg layers, which usually I try to have dodos for basic kibble, dimorphs for simple kibble. Ichthyornis are a pain in the butt to tame, but they can be handy to have on hand, and they actually lay medium eggs. Ichthyornis do. So they're the smallest thing that lays medium eggs. And then a couple of moss chops to get the large eggs for superior. And then, of course, for the exceptional eggs, you kind of have to go with some therizinosaurs. I think theries are the smallest thing that lays the extra large egg. Okay, and then if I do another row of double doors here, that should do it, I think. 270. Gonna be a pain in the butt, aren't you? Well, what if I put some of these in up here? 300%. Okay, that worked. And then if I need to open that to access whatever critters I have on there more easily, do that. And I'll go get some critters to put on there so I can show you what I mean in a minute. Then I usually like to try to sneak in some of these in between. No, you don't need full alignment mode. Replacing mode. Thank you. And sneak them in between, and then I can grow my own narco berries and medjos. And of course, these crop plots, you can stack them as well, the medium ones, so that you can fit at least one of each of the crops in there, preferably two of some of the crops. And since you can walk over these just fine, I usually put another one over here, even though it's a kind of a pain to walk over if you happen to come in this door, but it's not the end of the world. So this is where I usually put my oviraptor and my dung beetle. Since, of course, early game, I don't have cryopods yet, I don't have passive production, so I put them in there. Then put this in front so they can't escape. And if they're still escaping, sometimes I'll double stack these. But that way I can access them still, but they cannot escape and they can be on wander. And then over here, I can put my compost bin. Hate the sound. Wish you could turn off the sound of the flies and the visual because it's so gross. Let's extend this out here by a little bit since we can. And this becomes our little crafting area. Okay, let's make a window over here. And over here, sometimes I add that extension later on, but let's grab our fabricator and our generator. So sometimes with the bigger things, especially if I'm playing on a server or whatever, where structure pickup is enabled, I'll just pick them up and put them away when I'm not using them, but I'm not going to do that. Because the first time I used this was on a server that was full vanilla and structure pickup was not enabled, which was annoying, but you make do. Excuse me, that's not where you were supposed to go. The show placing over there, and then that is a weird bug. Leave that for a minute to think about its misdeeds while we put up some storage in here. And let's do also some mortar and pestles, since as I said, those make great early game storage, better than the small boxes. And you can also put a small box under the window, like so. These are doing that too. What the hell? Is it because it's jammed up against there? What if I pull it a little away from the wall? That's better. Okay. And then we can put in a couple beds in here. And if you put beds under sloped ceilings like this, even though there should be plenty of room, just the way the spawn in animation works, you'll get stuck in the sloped roof. So you have to put them as far as possible over to this side, so they're under the area that is more than one wall high. But thankfully they don't have collisions, so you can still access the boxes just fine. Figure those can be in here as well. Also keep me warm while I'm cooking my food. Nice double doors so you don't get stuck. And also add in a little extra level of storage. Gotta make use of every square inch on a boat, right? It's because of the door. Yes, it was because of the door. So I can still go up here, so I can add more storage up here. I'll probably just do more of the mortar and pestles since they're smaller. And if I put them like out on the edge, then I can also access them from below. And once again, these are awesome because there are 24 slots in one of these as opposed to 15 slots in a small box, which is dumb. Yeah, see? And the small box takes up more room, so. All right, that works. And then we can do another layer up here. Put our generator up there. You know, you can't put an indie forge on this, sadly. But until you get up to that level, you can fit everything you need in here. You do have to have raised the structure limit, though, for structures like this. Because, yeah, it will not work. It will not work on official or somewhere that has the default number of structures allowed on a raft. You will run out of room. I think you can build basically this side. You can build the little cabin and you can build the dino trap / dino pen part, and then you run out of structures and with just a flat platform on the other side. And our smithy can stay nice and central and accessible. And a couple of forges. And actually, to make metal unloading easier, let's swap out this wall. I always like to do this behind my forges, even in regular bases. Behind forges and storage boxes that are up against walls, outer walls usually, I'll put in a secret door instead. Because then I'll be able to, if I'm unloading an Anki or something, I can open that and access the forges from the back. I think I can fit 2 or 3 of these in here. Let's start with just 2. I like having the fridge on this level as well. Have it more accessible. Let's put a chem bench up here. And you might be wondering how you water the crops since you can't put an intake on a boat. When I did this for the first time, I couldn't make the taps at first. And so I would just take off the roof parts above the crop plots whenever it was raining. And I didn't get a ton of stuff growing that way, but I got my first few carrots, which is the main thing I was concerned about. I got enough carrots, so I was able to go and tame an equus. Actually, this could be a hatch frame too. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And actually, for unloading metal and stuff like that, let's make this one be a cellar door. There, that way we can land an RG up there and drop the metal straight down and be able to put it in the forge. Can you tell I don't like being over encumbered walking around unloading metal? And then let's put a railing up here so we don't lose dinos, hopefully, while it's in motion. I think what I usually like to do here is actually put like a plant species X. Put one down there and one in like one of the upper corners. Mostly just for seagulls. They can be very useful for that. But anyway, let me see. I'm not sure if I've tried putting a water tank on a raft yet. Oh, it looks like you can do that. So that is a thing we can do. Let's put another slope. All right. It's narrow, but it works. And we have room for all of the things that we need. And Al says, yeah, intake won't supply water to the boat. Just use a couple metal tanks and they'll fill with rainwater. Also use a Morella tops if available. Oh, cool. And it should be able to fill it manually when on board the boat as well. But yeah, let's see if it'll let us just fill it from here. Yes, okay. And then does that make the tap? It does indeed. It does indeed. See, where there's a will, there's a way. All right. Why does this say greenhouse effect is 0 though? Oh, I bet it's because of that. Dang it. Okay, fine. I'll swap that out for greenhouse if you insist. had it to 300% greenhouse a minute ago. Arc building, I tell ya. Well, let me spawn in some fertilizer first and get some crops growing so you can see how it's supposed to look. Since I have nucleus, that is not hard at all to do. And there's these seeds that are really awesome for if you're just decorating a build and you're just cheating them in with nucleus or whatever. They have these speed hack seeds that are awesome because they grow like immediately. If you're just trying to show a build and you don't have time to wait a week for things to grow, still thinks it has 0 greenhouse effect, but it's growing plenty fast anyway. This one's 300%. Is it because of this? That's annoying if so, because that's where I usually put like my dodos and stuff. Yeah, I guess it was because of that. Dang it. I can put that on the other side. I just thought I like the dodos to have a nice view out the glass wall, but apparently Ark does not want my dodos to have a view. And let's also get the small crop plots over here too. Let's see, I think let's try doing it like this since we only need 3 more, and do like a little heresy thing here. That way we can still reach the one at the back better, because otherwise with them being stacked too deep, we wouldn't be able to reach the crop plot in the back there. All right, that's 1 each of everything. I like that. I really like how that looks. All right, now let's get some critters to populate it with. It is an interesting challenge though, living on a raft like that, because of course you don't have as much space for creatures, and so you do have to be really careful what you tame and be strategic about it. So the Ichthyornis are part of my kibble farm that is in here, my mini kibble farm, because they lay medium tier eggs. They do require fish to eat though, and I don't like putting fish in the trough because everything else eats the fish super fast. So usually I just put a stack of cooked fish in each of their inventory and then just fill the trough for the other creatures. This nice little shelf makes a good spot to keep all of my little egg layers. Oh, and I need to put out a trough, don't I? Okay, now where do I put this? I think I'll put this like right here. I don't need that much space for a few dodos and stuff. There. And we've got some food. And then our oviraptor goes in here. Yeah, it often will say that, but just pick up the roof bit. Then put it back on again. There. And now we can put you on wander. And egg collection is on both. And then enable wandering. And you can like put a door here if you want, but usually I prefer to do it this way. Let's get so that I can see him in there, make sure that he's still in there and didn't escape. But I can hang one down from the top, and then it shouldn't be able to get out in between, but I can still reach it to get the eggs out of its inventory. Thankfully, having dinos on the roof doesn't block the sun, apparently, from the crop plots below. We can have you as an egg layer for large eggs. And have a few raptors as well. A little raptor pack for hunting with. And let's get an Inky and Dodic out. And that's pretty much most of the creatures I would need. Anything larger I would keep in a cryopod or soul orb if at all possible. Gotta watch out though. They can slide around a little bit while I'm moving. And there is the taming all-in-one base raft, which is a great base option for this map since there's no leads. No lead sickness to worry about. And there's the big central lake, so you can go to pretty much all the different areas of the map by water. Make sure to hit the like button if you haven't already, and stay tuned. We've got some exciting stuff coming up. I am putting together a 24-hour live stream as a fundraiser for the Extra Life charity event, and over 24 different creators are going to be involved in this. It's going to be a massive collab in the art community with Ras Clark, Aaron Longstaff, Aaron Aztec, Codiations, Chips is going to be there, Butch X3. All kinds of big creators are going to be part of this, and a lot of smaller creators as well, and it's going to be a ton of fun. So make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss any news about that. That's coming up on November 7th.
And thanks so much to Nitrado for partnering with this channel and sponsoring this Extra Life event and all the servers that I use for my community and for events like Extra Life. And thanks also to all of my channel members and patrons. You mean the absolute world to me. Seriously, you give me hope that maybe someday I'll be able to do this as a full-time job. And your belief in me and your support just means more than words can say. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your night. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.